Okay, we ready to roll?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Anyway, the only confession I have to make, which is probably a mistake I made originally when I was with Izzy.
Hold on a second.
You're back, Nessa?
Okay, Techaza from yesterday.
What is it?
Lamed Zion, right?
No, too fast.
Right. So yesterday was all about making thick all the different types of matzos. You can't Machlokes b'sham. So first we had a Havamina that we thought that you're not allowed to make thick matzah for Pesach, and then we said no, it was a Machlokes in Yom Tov. Then we said you can't make matzah with designs in them, and then Machlokes if fried breads need challah or not. We didn't really get into an halacha l'maisa of challah, right? That's the way we paskin that if you fry, you don't take challah off of donuts. What you plan on frying, you don't take challah off. But there's a shtick that you could do if you want to take challah. Let's say you have 5 pounds of dough, so then you could take one bit of it and make a roll, and then that enables you to do hafrashas challah. So if you like all those people that want to do
lechatchila? Like lechatchila?
It's lechatchila, yeah. So, but if somebody's making 5 pounds of donuts, it's just a whole lot of donuts. But if that's what you're doing, right? So then, you could do that. And then we had different ways of the frying pans. Does it get put into the frying pan hot? What meaning was the frying pan made hot first, or did you put it in first and then make it hot? We said if the frying pan gets hot first, then you touch it, and that might not be frying, right? And then we said half-baked matzah could be used on Pesach. Then on Mebeis, Machlokes what flour with boiling water. The two different ways of making it: adding the flour to the water, adding the water to the flour. And then Rabbi Yehuda said bread is only bread when it's cooked in the oven. And then we went through again different ways of frying bread. Fine. Okay, so that leaves us in the bottom, two lines up from the bottom on Lamed Zayin and Beis. Some Rav Asi. Yeah. So Isa shel maaser sheni. Right, so dough that's from maaser sheni. Right, so again, maaser sheni is shot that there's a couple of ways you can get dough from maaser sheni. You can either, because l'maisa you have to take maaser sheni from your grain, from your wheat. So you could take maaser sheni and bake challah out of it, right? And then you take it up to Yerushalayim, right? Or there's another way you could do it. Or you take your fruits and you sell them, right? I mean, you paida them onto the coins, and then you take the coins up to Yerushalayim, and then from that you bake challahs. Right? So those are the two ways. But either way, so isa shel maaser sheni, when you're making the dough of maaser sheni, the divrei R Meir peturim and challah. According to R Meir, it's potter from challah. The divrei chahcahim chayeves b'challah. So R Meir holds it's potter from challah because it's mom and gavaya. So mom and gavaya, Rashi says mom and gavaya is potter from challah. Challah is only from humans are required to take challah, not for something that's kaddish. All right, and then we take that machlokes and then we expand it onto Amud Aleph. Matzos shel maaser sheni, matzos of maaser sheni. L'divrei R Meir ein adam yotze b'yidei chavasa b'Pesach. According to R Meir, you're not going to be yotze on Pesach. L'divrei chachamim yotze b'yidei chavasa b'Pesach. According to the chachamim, you are going to be yotze yichayv. Esrog shel maaser sheni. L'divrei R Meir ein yotze b'yidei chavasa b'Yom Tov. You're not going to be yotze b'chachamim adam yotze b'yidei chavasa b'Yom Tov. So the machlokes starts from maaser sheni, right? And maaser sheni, Reb Meir holds that it's potter. So Memela, he's going to hold that matzah and esrog don't work either for maaser sheni. Yeah.
When he says matzahs don't work, that means for the chiyuv, the mitzvah chiyuv is on Seder night, not for
correct.
any other matzah.
Right. For the Sedarim. Right. So maskef l'rapapa bishlam isa dichsev arisei seichem. It says your dough. Mishalachem. So it tells you that it has to be yours. So if it belongs to Gavaya, which maaser sheni does, so then that's how we know that you don't take off challah according to R Meir. Esrog nami t'siv lakachtem lachem. You take it for yourselves. Lachem mishalachem yehei. It should be yours. Ela matzah miksiv matzaschem. Does it say matzaschem? It doesn't say that anywhere. So how do you know that matzah has to be yours?
Yaakov, I don't understand. Why are we assuming just because R Meir over there darshan that it means that it has to be yours? But where do we see that he darshan chahcahim lechem legabe eser? Why is the Gemara assuming that we have to make the same drasha according to R Meir, and the same machlokes would apply to such a drasha?
Because he's saying that he's clearly is darshaning the word lochem.
And the chachamim hold that there's no Indian in the chahcahim lechem that has to be yours. Everyone holds that way.
What do you mean?
Doesn't Gemara paskin that you can't have somebody else to be yet to the mitzvah of esrog? Everyone holds it has to be yours. Who says that's lafuke maaser sheni though? I mean, doesn't the Gemara over there say everyone holds that you can't be somebody a lulav that's stolen or esrog that's stolen, right?
Right, but it doesn't say that by matzah though.
No, I understand. I'm just saying, like, I don't know why we take that machlokes specifically and apply it to everywhere else. Until they darshan the pasuk that way, why are we assuming that the drushes themselves, that they darshan it that way? I know misfar it makes sense, but it's not. It's either drushes don't work that way. Either they darshan or they don't darshan it.
I'll check after the shir.
What are you saying?
Normally, I always assume unless Tana darshans it a certain way, so then we pass. Then you could assume that that's the machlokes. But who said R Meir darshans the pasuk will chahcahim lechem like that?
Because he darshans arisa seichem.
But I'm saying drushes. Who said Mechatesi assume he darshans one way by both of them, the same way by both of them?
Same limud. It has to be yours. He's saying that it has to be your dough. If it's dough from Gavoya, doesn't work. Right, so it has to be yours. It has to be yours by lulav and esrog, right? And then mamela. But how do you know by matzah? I think that's the way I understand it. Anyways,
What's chayiv in maaser sheni? All the zayin minim.
Very good. That's a big machlokes. That's a machlokes whether it's just dagan, sirosh, and yitzhar. Right, only the grain and the wine.
So what's esrog? What are we talking about esrog for? Where's maaser sheni from esrog?
No, but that's what Akiva's asking, I think. Right,
he wasn't asking that.
No,
I don't.
I'm saying it's
says esrog shel maaser sheni. It says in the Gemara. What esrog of maaser sheni? What is that?
Oh, you're saying, I didn't cop what you're saying. Yes, that's a big raya that they bring against the shitas that hold that it's only dagan, tirosh, and yitzah. Very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
I don't remember if the Rishonim asked it or Achronim. Needless to say, you're in good company. That's for sure. That's very good. Yes, it's a lechai. Right here, what he's asking, it's a machlokes, whether every fruit and vegetable. I think it's the Rambam that holds that all fruits and vegetables, all fruits. Fruits. No, vegetables, fruits. I'm so confused now. Yes, fruits, right? That are required. That maaser sheni has to, right? But some say it's not. It's only dagan. It's only grain and wine and what's it called? Not grapes. I'm sorry, and olives, right? And then the other one's not. So they bring a raya from here, like the Rambam, because you see that esrog could be maaser sheni, right? Anyways, it's the same shiloh that I was wondering that when people ask, can they buy the lulav and esrog with maaser money, right? Same shiloh. You want to scam the system, right? Instead of having to go out and buy it, it'd be buy an esrog with your own money. You could be a big shot. You take your maaser sheni and buy the most expensive esrog in town, right? So we're saying that doesn't work because that money is not yours because it says arisa seichem. But what about matzah? So Maravi, Rav Yemer Bar Shamli, Asya lechem lechem. No, we learn it out from Gzeira Shava lechem lechem. Ksivha lechem oini. Ksivha samvaya ba'achelchem lechem haaretz. Mal alon mishalachem, afkan mishalachem. So therefore, we know that matzah also has to be lechem, right? So this is why
What's the basis of the machlokes between R Meir, the original machlokes, R Meir and the chachamim, about maaser sheni? Is the machlokes whether it's yours or not?
Yes.
So then, Well,
So
I
you're
was
saying
just-
yours? No, you're saying that whether it's yours or not.
Oh, it's mammon gavaya, but the Torah allows you to eat it, so you have rishus over it. It
Right.
allows you, mechayev you to eat it. So technically, the chacham could say it's yours. So lachem by esrog wouldn't tell you anything. If by maaser sheni they consider it yours, then it's yours.
Right. No, but meaning, do we care that you're not yoitz, that you're not?
They hold you are. You chayev bechala because it's considered yours. Lachem, it's yours. It doesn't matter that it's mammon gavaya. The Torah says it's yours.
Yeah, I hear. I don't know. It's interesting. Rashi doesn't really explain the chachamim, the pshat of the chachamim here, right? He doesn't really say. He just says the R Meir. He only brings R Meir. He doesn't bring the chachamim.
Yeah, but he does say that the drasha the Gemara that he brings is tam. It's not lav dafka according to R Meir. Everyone holds maaser sheni is mammon gavaya. The question is how mammon gavaya is it?
No, or whether you care about mammon gavaya.
Well, if it's mamish mammon gavaya, if it's mamish not mine, then the chachamim should agree about esrog. Everyone holds v'lekachtem lachem shalachem yehi.
Right.
It's technically
that's what I asked. That's
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
asked. I said,
Yeah, that's a yeah.
I'm just trying to answer it technically, I guess.
I hear.
If they hold that the mammon gavaya doesn't matter because the Torah is mechayev you to eat it, not to give it to someone else, so it's still mine. So if maaser sheni is considered mine, then the lekachtem lachem wouldn't matter.
Right.
And this lechem also wouldn't matter.
Correct. So elamai. So this is only according to R Meir.
Right. So elamai Akiva's kasha would lead me to the direction that the Rabbanan consider it mine, even though it's mammon gavaya.
I hear. I'm not sure. I wouldn't learn like that initially, but I hear your point. Yeah. So let's see weiter. So let's say this is a proof. Isa shel maaser sheni petura min challah. That Isa maaser sheni is potter from challah. Divrei Meir. Chachamim chayeves and chachamim say chayev. Leima Messiah, what kind of Leima Messiah? I know hach. That's exactly the bright. You're saying you're bringing this as a proof. This is exactly what we just said. Now, sometimes when you Gemara wants to bring a proof from a Brisa or a Mishnah, so bring something a little different, and we say that's what it's talking about. Here, it's just a repeat. So hachi kamarlei Leima mi de pligi be isa bahanach nami pligi. So let's say if they have a machlokes by dough, here they also disagree. Oidilma. Or mo shani hasam de siv arisa seichem trei zimni. Now there it says arisa seichem twice, right? So you would think that it doesn't apply. So we say no, it's a proof that the machlokes is in all the cases, right? And we paskin the maaser we paskin that it has to be lachem. That's why you got to make sure you have your own lulav and esrog. Now, well, the truth is no, that was incorrect. The way I just said it. Really, the only reason why you should have your own esrog is because it has to be lachem, and we're afraid that nobody knows how to do the kinyonim properly to properly be makna the lulav and esrog to his friend. Theoretically, you could borrow from your friend, but we're afraid that you're not going to know how to do the kinyonim. So therefore, that's why it's preferred that everybody has their own lulav and esrog. And then
how's some Messiah though? This machlokes is only legabe. What's it called? This machlokes that we see in the Bryce is only legabe challah.
Right.
So what's the Messiah that what? How do we know? How do we see from there that they argue everywhere else?
Well,
how do we see that? How do we see that they argue in other places as well?
You don't. I think that's good for what it's saying. You don't. Right? It's just meaning that brisa.
What does Leima Messiah mean?
No, I think that was. I don't know if the Gemara is being chayzer here.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
But it's not. It doesn't sound like the Gemara is being chayzer, right? I'm not sure. If the Gemara is being chayzer. Or it's just saying the memela the same way they have the machlokes there, so it's going to be by lulav and by matza too, by esrog and matza too, right? Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure. It was a confusing few lines of Gemara here. Okay, but the bottom line is that's the way we paskin. So that's why by matzah, you get the frumma people, right? They're busy being makna the matzahs to everybody by the Sedarim. I don't know if anybody's zeichet to see the frumma people or before the Sedarim, right? They're busy making sure that you have to be kainet. The Mishnah Brura in Taf Nun Dalid brings an interesting thing. He says, if everybody goes to the matzah bakery and you have your own specific matzahs, and then they get confused in the oven, or when you take them out of the oven and you put them into the box, whatever it is, then he says you got to make sure you get your own. Or if not, everybody should announce that if they don't have their own matzah, then they have no problem being maknit. Right? That's when you're cooking a lot of matzahs. Yeah, and then he says another v'yesh oid prat echad mashamatz. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not zoicha to do that. But you don't. The matzahs aren't used till you pay him. Why are they your matzahs? You didn't pay. You pay the guy when you finish baking.
Yeah. So enochanami. So I don't think bisman hazeh the way we do it. Right.
I mean,
it works like that.
They put their own flour.
Sounds like it. But he does bring like exactly what you're saying, which is a little scary here. He says, let's say you go to the matzah baker. He says this is a very common thing, and you tell the guy, I'm going to pay you after Pesach when I get money, whatever it is. And the guy really doesn't want to give it to you. But you take it because what is his choice? He says, you may not be yaitza. The Mishabura says, you may not be yaitza because it's not lochem. The matzahs are not lochem. Because the guy didn't really have das to give it to you. Right? And then you have, of course, the checks, the people with the checks, right? So some hold that if you pay with a check.
Hold on, so you're saying like all the stores that have on credit this and that, you may be having Genevish matzah?
Yeah. I never thought about it that way. Perhaps second door, please. But you're right. If the store, no, it sounds like from the Mishnah Brura that if the store doesn't mind you taking the credit and they know eventually you'll pay it back, fine. But if the store really doesn't want you to doesn't really want to give it to you on credit, then it's going to be a problem. Yeah.
I think Peretz is saying he paid the store, but the store's not paying the bakery.
Oh, that's what you mean. You didn't pay the supplier. You sound like a guy in nursing homes.
Yeah, because you know what? These guys go sometimes 90, 100. I don't know. Aaron, you can tell us how far do they go back, the suppliers, and they don't pay?
A long time.
I can't understand that. But anyways, let's say they do that with the matzah. You're 100% right. If the supplier with the matzah.
So Yaakov, from year to year, because they didn't need it to next year burn time. So
that's exactly, yeah.
So Aaron now is just thrilled out of his mind that all the guys that stiffed him weren't yet to the mitzvah.
Yeah, it's going back many years, but okay. It's true. That's what the Mishnah Berurah says. If you didn't.
So Yaakov, when I sold books to the Sfarim stores, this is over 20 years old. They never paid.
Yeah, but Mistama, they sell you again the next year the bet matzahs, even though you paid them 6 to 8 months late or 10 months late, and they paid.
What about a credit card? Because they say they're on a credit card.
They give you again the next year, so they're not so upset with
my brother put me on my matzah this year. I never paid him.
Oh, that's it. Liner. Naftali said he never paid his brother for his matzahs. That's it. Oh boy. Okay.
Go give him back his pay him in ties. Naftali, pay him in ties. Give him.
He never asked me for it. You know what's it called?
You have made an opinion on it. It's fine.
Even by a wedding, right? You're kind of the ring or whatever it is. What if you pay it on credit card?
Credit card. It depends when the credit card pays. If the credit card pays, puts the money into the account right away, so that's fine. If they put it on a delay and you buy your matzahs Erev Pesach, then enochanami might be a problem. But if the guy could be makni you the matzah.
Jacob,
he's taking it as a payment. He's taking it as a form of payment.
Siaka, what about the Esrik circle? It doesn't cash your check till after Yom Tov.
Right.
And a chanami, that's what they say this Shaila by the Esrik.
You should really be paying everything in cash.
No, but that's his choice when he cashes it.
No, but the thing is like this.
You have to give him enough time.
Yeah.
Why does it matter? He made a kinyan on it, so he owes you money for that. So what?
No, but if you
can't be kind of something you didn't pay.
So if the guy trusts
you can't be kind of with money anyways. You can't be kind of with money. But even if you pick it up, Akiva, even if you pick up the esrog,
if he's not happy to be makna to you because you haven't paid him, then you're not kind of it.
Why not?
I don't know how that works.
Yeah, but when you give him a check,
He's
he's
saying-
happy. When you give him a check, that's a normal
so
payment
so
that
a
he's
check.
happy with.
No, it's not. Is it that you're not kind of, or it's a mekach tois?
Why does it make out that you don't have a kinyan on it?
It's like gambling.
When did he speak out this tonight that he has to be happy to make a kinyan? Why does that?
Because otherwise, it doesn't have to be marketed to you.
Where do we decide that?
When I was doing.
Yeah.
So when I was doing Safras, the cipher one time gave a check to a cipher in Eretz Yisrael, to a wholesaler in Eretz Yisrael, when the guy was in America for payment. 8 months later, the guy gave him the same check back as payment for something that he bought from America.
That's interesting.
That's in a lot of checks don't get cash for months and months and months. They pay. That's how they pay each other.
Yeah, they don't want to deposit it. They don't want to show up.
Reb Yaakov, where does this stomach come from? Where do we make up this stomach when it comes to kinyanim? That the guy has to be happy.
I don't know.
I never saw that. I never saw that in any Gemara Lagabi kinyanim that a person has to be happy to be matzah to you.
We just had it in gambling. No, gambling is a wise gambling officer.
But because that's not a stomach built into a kinyan.
He doesn't want to give away the money, even though he.
First of all, I mean, the Raisa, we don't say that. We don't.
One
say
second. Let me read the lashon of the Mishnah Berurah. You can look it up yourselves. Tafnun Dalid Sifkat and Tesvav. He says, "Im kana matza umashkin l'reshusay im amaycher gila daitai be'es mechirasa." Right, if the seller reveals his das when he's selling it, shadachok l'mois, that he needs the money, ve'ena yochel limkor b'hakafa, and he can't sell it to you on credit. V'alkein ayol v'nofik acharav azuzei. Right, and he runs after him for the money. Umatcheu b'leich v'shoiv, and you know what they do? They push him off. I come back or whatever. Ve'ena noisan loy midina. And he did not give it to Medina. Loikana, Kimavur b'chashem mishpat simin kuf tzadi sif yud zayin.
That's a very specific case. He says he's Megala Das. He mamish basically made it tonight in the Kenyan.
Well, he's saying to the guy, I need you.
If a guy's stam is makna to you, something, you can't go stomach that he's not happy if you don't pay him in a certain way. He has to be Megala Das. That the Kenyan's going to be al das that you actually have to pay me right away. Otherwise, there's no Tanai in the Kenyan.
Sending somebody an invoice that says 30 days payment. That's Megala Das that he wants his money.
30 days payment, and then what? And then it's not kind to you? What does that mean, 30 days payment?
That means after 30 days, it's Megala Das that he wants his money.
But and then what? What is going to happen if 30 days I don't pay you? There's no Tanai. You didn't speak out your Tanai. You have to, in order for a Kenyan to have a Tanai, you have to speak it out. Otherwise, the Kenyan works. You have to be Galadas. That's the way Kenyan works.
You're looking at it from the wrong direction. You're looking at it from the other direction, that I need it to be mine. I need the matzos to belong to me. Then I have to make sure that the Kenyan works.
What would make the Kenyan not? Why would the Kenyan not work? Why would the Kenyan not work?
You always need das makna.
The das makna has to have a tanai in it in order for it to be to not have a das makna. You can't just say, I decided limafreya that I want to be happy about it, and I only want to be happy about it because you paid me right away.
Who said he's deciding limafreya? Before
if he speaks out,
you did a hagbah, he doesn't have to speak out. You decide. You walk into a store and do a hagbah on something. It's a Kenyan? No,
that's called Zela. Unless the guy has das to be kind.
This is also exactly.
But if he didn't make a tanai in it, if he made no tanai, then it made
listen, I'm going to create a separate classroom. You guys can go join into another classroom.
Okay, let's go. You know what they do? Pardon an interruption, and on ESPN, right? Ding, ding, ding. Next subject. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, whatever. But you don't know?
Yes, time's up. Time's up. Move on.
Correct. That's right. It's a good tumble. I don't want to bring up the other tumble because I don't want to go into that. But the whole thing with giving your kid the esrog, lulav and esrog on the first day, right? So now there's no way to get it back from the kid.
That's why you give it after you use it.
So you don't give the kid the lulav and esrog till after you're done, because otherwise it's not. There's no way for you to get lechem because a kid doesn't have das to be makna, right? So that's he could be kind, he can't be makna. But the shaila is how does it go for the
So
second?
you're saying
day?
in the middle of hollow, you can't give it to him?
No, because then you already yotze.
Okay.
But you shouldn't give it to him like before davening. The kid says, "Hey,
When you
let me."
still, you give it to him to hold. Say almanas shalai. Just carry.
Yeah, that whole deal. You get that whole deal. Okay, very good. It's not such a hard daf tonight, so it goes pretty fast. So boy Rav Shimon ben Lakish. Right, so Rav Shimon Lakish had a
We're
kasha.
past that point.
Now we have
Sorry.
to make up some.
Okay, we'll make up to. Okay. We'll tuck everybody into bed soon. Okay, so boy Rav Shimon ben Lakish. Ma'al sheyatza adam yidei chavasa b'challah shel ma'aser sheni b'Yerushalayim. Oh, this is a lamdish shayla here. So far we discussed 2 blot ago Machlokes whether you can be yotze with challah for matza, and now we also had can you be yotze maaser sheni with challah? But what happens if it's maaser sheni with challah together? Right, so it's both. So I'll leave it to Rav Yosei Glili. According to Rav Yosei Glili, is no question. Hashta bechulin loy nofik. If it's maaser sheni that's chulin, right, meaning plain old maaser sheni that you took up to Yerushalayim, so that you can't use for matzos. So bechalasa mibayis, you need to ask a shayla by challah. Of course, 100%. Challah is not going to make it more yours. It's going to make it even less. So if again straight up maaser sheni you can't use for matzah. So straight up maaser sheni together with challah, of course you can't use for matzah. Kiti bailach, I'll leave it to Rabbi Kiva. So when's the shayla according to Rabbi Kiva? Bechulin hu denafik, right? Maybe that's only when maaser sheni is chulin. That's when it doesn't mean chulin. It means just not challah. Dim betamu yesh len heter b'meshavas. Like we said, if it becomes tummy, there's a heter according to Rabbi Eliezer, right? That you're allowed to eat it in outside of Yerushalayim. So Mamela, that's called eating everywhere, and you'd be able to be yotze. Challah, but challah dim b'tamya less le heter b'meshavas, but challah there's no heter b'meshavas, because what are you going to do with it? Ulusreifa azlan, it's going to be burned. Then loy nafik, then maybe you were in yotze, right? Haidilma amrinan hoyel. Here's a different version of hoyel, right? Hoyel since, or do we say hoyel v'ilu loy karal Hashem v'itmei islay heter b'meshavas? Let's say you would not have called it a name. Literally means you didn't make it into challah. Then if it was just maaser sheni, you would have a heter b'meshavas. But nafik ban, you'd be yotze. Hashtanami nafik, so too you would also be yotze. Meaning, we're saying that maybe since the maaser sheni allows you to since if you hold that it's plain maaser sheni, you could use it for matzah. So mamela, it drags along challah with it together. How that works in the lumdis, I don't know. I'll leave it to Akiva and Gershi to figure that out. I can't say I fully understand the hoyel, meaning since it works for maaser sheni, which is not really yours, which is really kaddish. So challah is also a kaddish. So once you're doing maaser sheni, so we're gonna bundle challah along together with it, and then therefore you're gonna be yotze. That's what
challah belongs to the kohen. You're saying maaser sheni belongs to the body shem, and the kohen might be a nice guy, but he ain't God. It's different.
Right, and a chanami. Right, that's the kasha. How does this hoyel working? Right.
You don't have to answer me, Rishi Yaakov. I've been just.
No. It's a good kasha. I don't have the answer myself. I mean, it seems like, meaning if you did each one by itself. No, I'm sorry. No, the answer to your kasha, Rabbanan, is that we're talking about the kohen. Can the kohen himself use the challah? Right. Can the kohen himself use the challah? So we're saying, well, if you use the maaser sheni, meaning if each one was by itself, it was challah by itself, or was maaser sheni by itself, then each one would work, right? Obviously, going according to the shitas that hold you can use challah for matzah, and according to the shita that holds you use maaser sheni. But now that you put them together, so there's no heter if they in the mashavos, even if it becomes tameh. So therefore, it doesn't fit into the parameters of what the pasuk says. So then, memela, just because the two of them together are a problem, maybe you should look at each one as a separate thing, and then memela you could. Hoyel, it works for one by itself, and it works for the other by itself. So just because they're combined, shouldn't bring a chumrah onto it. Okay, that's one side. Ikadamri, there's another version of the shayla. Havadai loyti bailach. That's not a shayla. Devada amrin and hoyel. We for sure say hoyel. Kiti bailach challah lekuach bekesef maaser sheni. We're not talking about where the challah itself. We're talking about where you took the money and you bought the challah with the kesef maaser sheni. If I leave it to Rabbanan loyti bailach, according to Rabbanan, there's no shayla. Kim the yifta. Since they say you paid it, right? It can't right hainu maaser. So then that's the same as maaser sheni. That's challah. Kiti bailach. I leave the Rabbi Yehuda. Where you have a shayla is going to Rabbi Yehuda. The Amar you cover where he says that you have to. But if it became tummy, the maaser sheni became tummy, you have to bury it. You can't be paid it. So according to him, the Tanana lakuch bekesef maaser sheni shenitva yipada. We have a Mishnah that says if it's taken with food that's taken with kesef maaser sheni that became tummy, you could be paid it, meaning just put it onto different food. If you cover it's buried. So then mi amrin and hoyel, do we say hoyel? Right? Because I'm sorry, it's not in no sense. Do you say that since you never bought the challah, right? And you didn't call it challah and it became tameh, meaning if you wouldn't have made it into challah, it would have a heter b'mashavos for nafik bay, and you'd be yotze with it hashtanami nafik bay. So too now you're also going to be right. You're going to be yotze. Or do we say one hoyel? You say you don't say two hoyels, right? You don't say two hoyels. That since maybe you didn't have to make the whole thing into challah, and even if there was challah, if you wouldn't have called it maaser sheni, then it would also be tar. So memela, that's the shiloh. Do we say one hoyel, two hoyels? So Rava mistava shame maaser chadu. No, it's one big shame. And once you say that it's maaser sheni, then once you say maaser sheni is okay, so then it's all inclusive, and therefore it would work. Okay, I'm sorry, that part was not easy. Yeah, right. Okay, so but it went quick because it's not easy, right? Okay. Yeah, weiter. So chalas todah rekike nazir. So then we said that chalas todah rekike nazir are if was very interesting did in the Mishnah. If he made them for himself for the korban, then you're not allowed to use it for the matzah. But if they made it to sell, then you're allowed to use it for the matzah. Right? That's what the Mishnah said. So minani really. Amarava, Damakra, the pasuk says, "When I'm a base now, shmartem es matzos." You have to watch the matzos. Matza hamishtameres l'shem matza. There has to be matzah that you're watching it. L'shem matza. Yotzazu shein mishtameres l'shem matza excludes this one that it's not for the shem matzah. El l'shum zevach, when you baked it if you baked it as a korban, so then that's why it's being mishtameres from being covering chametz, not for matzah. So therefore, you have to. It was not done exclusive, meaning matzah has to be the exclusive. If it's matzah for a korban, then it's not allowed. That's the first pshat. Yosef Amar.
Does this mean? What does it mean? She'ein mishtameres l'shem matzah. Elushim zeva. The matzah of that equation, that means matzah's pesach or matzah bichlal.
No, matzah's pesach for the Seder. It's again Geshen's for the Seder.
No, I understand that, but if this is mishtameres l'shem matzah, because if it becomes chametz, it's possible for a korban.
He has to bring matzah. Yeah, the todah is 30 of them are matzahs. Yeah, it's matzahs.
Do we look at the shimur of that it shouldn't become chametz only in the sense that he's checking it for he's making sure that it remains a korban, or do we actually look at that as if it's mishtameres l'shem matzah? That's all I'm asking.
No, the Gemara is telling you it's not mishtameres l'shem matzah. That's what they're telling you. You can eat it chalamud with jelly and cream cheese, but this has nothing. You can't eat it by the Seder.
But it sounds like the shmira has to be l'shma. The shmira has to be l'shma.
L'shem mitzvahs matzah, yeah.
Right, not l'shem mitzvahs.
No, his matzah is just it shouldn't be something a shtick chametz. That's all, but it's zevach.
Yeah, okay. So let's go weiter. Yeah, but that's the first pshat. That it has to be the shmira has to be l'shem matzah. Yosef Amar Kra Shivas Yom matzos techelu matzah hanechelas shivas yomim. You need to have matzah that gets eaten for 7 days. excludes these matzahs that it only gets eaten for 1 day and 1 night. So Mamela, right, because that's the zman that you have to eat a korban. So Mamela, it's only 1 day matzahs, so you need 7 day matzahs. Fine. Tani Kav say the Rava, Tani Kav say the Rabbi Yosef. If you have prices like each one. Tani Kav say the Rabbi Yochel Yotze Yidei Chavase Bechalas Todah Rikike Nazir. So you would think you'd be yaitza with your chi of for matzah, with the chalas of the korban todah and the wafers of the nazir. Tamalem rishmatem es matzah mishtameres l'shem matzah yotze zizu sheina mishtameres l'shem matzah el l'shem zevach. Right, so that's the first. That's like Rabbi Yosef. Tanya Kava say, I'm sorry, that's like who was the first one, Dama? Rava. Tanya Kava say the Rabbi Yosef Yachol Yatza Adam Yidei Chavas Bechalas Todah Rikike Nazir. So you would think you'd be yaitza with them. Talmud learns shivas yamim matzos techelu. Matzah nachelas the shiva for 7 days. Yatza zizu excludes the korban todah and the nazir. Shein nachelas the shiva el yayim v'layla. It doesn't get eaten for 7 days. It gets eaten for 1 day and 1 night. So the Gemara says the typically melechem oini, right? Like we had a couple of blot ago. Why don't we learn it out from lechem oini? Misha nechel ba'aninus. That's something that could be eaten when somebody nebuch is lost a close relative.
He has the mitzvah to eat the matzah on when he's an onain.
What?
He has the mitzvah to eat matzah when he's an onain.
No, but we're saying that matzah, you can only be yaitza matzah if with something that is allowed to be eaten, right? When somebody's an onain, and the chalas todah and the rikike nazir are not allowed to. Meaning, it has nothing to do with that first of all, an onion would be potter from matzah, but I don't know how would that be because there's really no aminos of Yom Tov. But what it means is that the matzah that you're eating on Pesach has to have the ability to be eaten by an onion, and if it's made for korban todah and if it's made for rikike nazir, then it can't be eaten by anida. So therefore, it's possible for Pesach, right? So again, misha nechel ba'anidas yatzes she'ena nechel ba'anidas ela b'simcha. You eat it b'simcha. So we answer, Savalak Rebbe Kiva Damar Oniksiv, right? He held that it doesn't say Oini, right? Which refers to Anidas, it means Oniksiv, right? So then, okay, if it typically the Havali Matzah Shira, right? Why don't we say that it's Matzah Shira? Because there's other ingredients, there's oil that's mixed into the lechem of the Lachme Toida and the what do you call it? Rekike Nazir. So Amar Shmuel Bar Rav Yitzchak, Revius he, Muschalekas he Lakama Chalas. It's only a Revius of oil. And you're making a lot of challahs, right? But it's not 40. It really ends up being 30. But meaning it's meaningless. It's bottle, so that's not considered matzah shira. Matzah shira has to have a substantial amount of other ingredients in there, and this is not going to have that. It'll have it, but it's going to be bottle. Right?
And the levina doesn't count.
The levina, why? That's not liquid. I would think that what makes matzah shira is other liquids. No.
I don't know. I thought it was other ingredients.
I understood always as liquid because that's what makes it into chametz. I have no idea. That's what I think. I have no idea. Right? I'm assuming that the thing that makes it into chametz is the liquid. Right? I mean, the thing that makes it from dough, from flour into challah, matzah, whatever you want to call it, is the liquid. So then that's what I think. I have no idea. Right? Fine. For typically the ein nechelas b'chol moshavos, right? Like we said, why don't you say that you can't eat it wherever you want? You have to eat it. You have to eat it in the Beis Hamikdash or whatever Yerushalayim, right? I'm sorry, in the rear you have to eat it in Yerushalayim, right? We said before that anything that it has to be, and matzah has to be able to be eaten with something, with food. The matzah has to be made of things that can be eaten anywhere, not just in specific places. So what it tells you is that in Noive Givon, right after the Plishtim took the, what do you call it, when they had that whole fight with the Mishkan and that whole deal there, so then they allowed people to make bombas, their private mizbeach, or they had private mizbeachs and they had a big mizbeach, whatever it is, that we learn out from there that at that point you would have been allowed to make todah, the korban todah, and the nazir, so mamela that you could make anywhere. So therefore, they are.
What about bikurim? What about anything at that time?
I have no idea what bikurim.
I'm just saying I'm just saying the Mishnah is right. According to that svara, there's no issue of bechol mashavos for any of these things. Bikurim should be mutter. Because at the time of Bamas, the walls of Yerushalayim were they had to bring it to the walls of Yerushalayim.
Very good. Akiva's right. So very good. Akiva's asking the bottom toisus is asking kasha, right? Meaning we said before bikurim, right? You can't take matzah from bikurim because it has to be eaten in Yerushalayim, right? What about noiva given, right? Yeah. Okay. Whatever. So that's a good kasha. Okay. Fine. So Tanya, Amar Rabbi Eloi, Shalti is Rabbi Eliezer, Ma'al sheyatza adam b'chalas todah r'kikei nazir. I asked Rabbi Eliezer, can he be yaitza with chalas todah r'kikei nazir? Amar li lo shamati. He told me I didn't hear this, which I don't understand what that means exactly. What do you mean you didn't hear it? Right? I mean, it's beferish. I guess he didn't hear that Gemara, right? Basiv Shalti lifnei Rabbi Yeshua. I came and asked Rabbi Yeshua, Amar li harei amru chalas todah r'kikei nazir shasan la'atzman. Chalas todah, it's a Mishnah, really, right? I'm saying Rabbi Eloi, he didn't know. Rabbi Eliezer didn't know the Mishnah. I don't know, but anyway, so he says, "Harei amru chalas todah r'kikei nazir shasan la'atzman ein adam yotzman limkor b'shuk." I'm sorry, ein adam yotzman. You're not yotza if you make it for yourself. Limkor b'shuk, if you made it to sell on the street, yotza ben. So kishabasi v'ratzeisi dvarim lefnei Rabbi Eliezer. When I went and told that the answer to Rabbi Eliezer that it depends why they made these chalas. Amrali bris. He says bris, which is a lashon of a shvua. Hein advarim shenemru lo Moshe b'Sinai. Yes, this is what was told to Moshe by Sinai, right? So that is the halacha. So I don't know. Did he reminded him? I mean, he asked Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer said, "I don't know." Then all of a sudden he comes back with him with the information. He says, "Sure, bris. Yeah, that was by Moshe Sinai." I don't know if he's agreeing to it or he's saying he's confirming it, right? I'm not sure. Right? Ikada Amri. Bris heinen advarim shenaru lo Moshe Sinai for light time aboy, and this was said to Moshe Sinai, I'm sorry, it's a question. It's a question. For light time aboy, and it doesn't need a reason. Is it meaning? Is this from Moshe Sinai, and we don't need a reason? What's the difference between whether the guy bakes it for himself or he bakes it to sell? The time of mine. What's the reason? Amar Rava called the shuk imluche mimlach. If he baked it for the shuk to sell in the street, so then he could change his mind. Amar im is daven. He says to himself, the nazir says to himself, or whoever's making these lachmei todah says, I'm going to bake these things to sell in the street, and if I can't find any buyers, then I'm going to use it myself, right? So imluche mimlach, he can change his mind. Amar im is daven. If they sell, they sell. Iloim is daven epuk buano. Then I'm going to be yotze with them. So therefore, if he bakes it to sell it in the street, so therefore there is kavanah there for lishma, and then memela it's kosher for matzah. But if he makes it for the korban, then for the two reasons we said before, then that's not good enough. Okay, we made it, not bad. 10 to 10. 10 to 10. All right. Okay, good to know.
This moicher made it for a korban. It's very well that he says, if it doesn't sell, so I'll use it myself. But it's still not l'shem matzah. How is it not a raya to Rav Yosef?
Who says it's a raya to Rav Yosef?
I'm saying, how is it not a raya to Rav Yosef? Amen.
Why?
Because the shmira is not l'shem mitzvahs matzah. That's for sure.
The shmira is not l'shem mitzvahs matzah.
The guy baked it to sell as lachmei todah or kikei nazir. So very well, nice that he says, but if it doesn't sell, I'll use it myself. Shkoyach. And therefore, it's l'shem mitzvahs matzah now.
Yeah, but
how is that l'shem mitzvahs matzah?
I just said it like l'shem mitzvahs matzah. I don't know if that's. Is it l'shem?
So then Rava can't hold of this. This is Rav Yosef.
No, because he's saying if they're not going to be sold as a korban, so then they'll be used as matzah.
When he baked it, that's what did he do? He had. What did he have in mind when he baked it? He wanted to sell it for lachmei todah.
Right.
So this lishma in his head now is al tanai. If it sells, then I'm having lishma now. Oh, l'shem korban. If it doesn't sell, oh, lishma shemitz is matzah. Is that possible to do? Split the lishma in my head?
That's what, yes, Klar from the Gemara, that's exactly what he's doing.
Can I do that in Gittin also? I'm writing a get lishma for
802.
What?
I'm writing a get lishma for two specific people, but if they don't want it, I'm writing it for what is that?
I wish I knew. Lishma stuff gets me very, I don't know. Akiva, what do you say?
I'm just curious if you hold according to the Mount Yesh Brer, if he even has to say this at the time when he bakes it.
Same idea, yeah.
No, I'm saying the Gemara is going according to both. I'm just curious, according to Yesh Brer, you don't even have to say that. You could decide Lamafreya that that's what I want to do.
No, not with a das in my head. I can't decide later what the das was.
Isn't that what Yesh Brer says?
10.
No.
Here they're going to Shirash at 10 o'clock, right?
That I really had in mind this. Isn't that we say Gabi Tchumim?
Someone's coming up. Whatever.
No, it doesn't need to go on the das. The das originally was split.
Yeah, but don't wait around.
Listen, I don't know how to answer the specifics of Gabi Lishma. I don't know. Could it also mean that I had Lishma for both of them? Can you have Lishma for both of them?
Sounds like from how else do you learn this Gemara?
I don't know if you're splitting it. You're saying you have to split it, meaning it has to be to the exclusivity of the other. Maybe it just means that I also include matzah in that.
So then I don't understand. Why can't he do that originally?
Meaning, I hear you. Right. Fair.
The whole Lishmaim to matzos. Forget it. The whole drush is not Negeya. The whole Rava is mamish not Negeya.
Right. Okay, I hear. I don't know.
I'll be honest. It's brought down at the bottom. I don't like being medayik in art school, but it's brought down at the bottom that it's looked at retroactively as having been made specifically for Pesach use. So it's mashma, and he brings it down from the. I don't know if it's mashma that Taka works retroactively, that it has to be to the exclusivity. The lishma has to be specific for one purpose.
So why can't I do that lechatchila, even if I make it for my own lachmei todah?
I don't know. You are doing that. What does that mean? You are doing that. You're saying whatever it's for, that's what Malashma is for originally.
Wait, hold on.
This is in the original point.
What is the case over here? The lachmei todah.
Oh, you're saying when you do it for the korban?
Pesach.
Because when you bring it for the korban, if you actually bring it for a korban, then you can't eat it as matzah. You did it for matzah for the korban.
You can't bring a korban todah erev Pesach. So we're talking 2 days before. Then it's nicer.
Then you can't eat it.
So what's the point here?
That's Tamakasha.
You going to?
Yeah, I just got.
No, I'm gonna go here. 10:10.
You're still gonna save time for mine.
Where?
It's Yaakov.
Yes.
Why?
What on earth is this
Someone's coming
case
to
of
pick something
lachmei
up.
todah?
Hold on, I'm here. I'm waiting for them.
Well, hold on. What do you say?
What is this case of lachmei todah? It's also to bring a korban todah on erev Pesach. So the shortest time before that is 2 days before.
Right.
Then it's nicer.
No, I don't think he made it with kedusha. It doesn't have the kedusha.
So he didn't bring the korban yet. He just baked it.
He's not baked. He's looking to sell it.
No, the first case.
The first case.
Which first case?
It depends. If he bakes it for himself, he can't use it. If he bakes it to sell, he is allowed to use it. What's the case of baking it for himself?
What's the case for himself? He baked it for himself, and he was going to use it, and then he changed his mind, and he decided not to use it.
So there was no kedusha.
I don't know when the kedusha is chal on lachmei todah. I have no idea.
The kedusha is chal when it goes in klisharis.
L'chayr, right? So then that's the answer.
So then what's the difference? Between baking it for himself and baking it for to sell? There's no chiluk now.
The only difference is the stama, meaning the stama is when you bake something to sell in the marketplace, it might come that you're going to end up with extra bread. When you bake it for yourself, it's only this amount, so it's only for the korban. You never had that you might be imuchebet.
Well, he was Himlach. He didn't bring the
No,
korban in
no.
the end.
And a chanami, but the point is that when you
There
don't
had to be some point
you
in
don't
time
split.
when he said, "I might not bring this korban."
Right, but that's after the fact. At the shas when you were baking it, you didn't have a tzad im luchebe.
It's a very strange case. I know
No,
I'm
but
bringing
that-
it todah. I'm bringing it tomorrow.
Right, and then
I'm
the
gonna
maaser
bake
you
the
were
breads now, and then what?
you didn't have a tzad when you make it for yourself that you're going to be im luchebe. By the shuk you do because you might not sell all of it. There's a clear difference in mitzias how that works.
So I mean, so this case, you're narrowing this case down basically to an oinus happened to him after he baked it.
L'chaira. And he can't bring his title. Let's say 2 days before.
Anywhere. I mean,
well, like you just said, it can't be that he baked it the day of because why would anyone be trying to bring a korban title the day of?
That's
so
well, what's that? What do we come out with? What do we come out with about the? Can you bring it? Was it also to bring it on Pesach?
It's also the drasha.
Even early in the morning.
Yeah. Where was that? The first parak, no?
That was at the end. That was in Chaminas kind of cunning, no?
Oh yeah, you're right. I think it was Usher in the end.
No, I thought we said that there was a rush. There was a mad rush to bring it, right?
And it would be impossible to be eaten, so Maveli, you couldn't bring it.
I don't remember when we said the last time you could bring it.
2 days before. That's why we don't say Mizmul Seder.
No, but the day before you can, right? I mean, because you have enough time. You have a day and a night and a day, right?
You have a day and a night. Yeah.
I hear. Right. I hear. I don't know. Okay. Like we do every night. We leave it by a chahcahim. We're leaving by a chahcahim.
Could be Akiva's right.
What?
Could be Akiva's right. That it has to be talking about a case where there was no havamina in his mind that he would not bring the korban. And some oinus happened after he baked them. It's a little balabat. I mean, it's less than balabatish.
No, that's not what I'm saying. 1 second. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that when a person, it's about stama. Stama, when a person stam bakes for himself for his karbanas, he doesn't have another side in his mind. But when he bakes to sell in the marketplace for karbanas, he knows that he might have extra, and in such a scenario, I want to use that as my matzos for pesach. It's a stomach.
I don't know. I would think if I have to bake 40 loaves of bread, I start a week before. I don't know when I'm bringing this korban, but whenever I bring it, I'll have the matzos.
The Gemara is saying not that way. The Gemara is saying there's a difference between when you go to a shuk and when you don't. Who? No, one we could assume that's stama im luchebe, one we can't.
I mean, what? It's a metzius, really.
It's not a metzius. To say that a person had das,
to say that a person had das, and bring 40 loaves of bread, and what's going to be if one of them burns? Then what? Then that's only lishma. I'm not going to use it myself. I can't bring it as a car. What?
Yeah.
Of course, things happen.
Yeah, but
I know
you don't
before
have
I bake it, things might happen.
That you're assuming a stama. The Gemara does not assume.
I mean, that's obvious. I'm asking it as a question, though. How could the Gemara not say that? How could the Gemara not assume it?
You make a pshita against the Gemara as a kasha here.
No, but well, it's not exactly what I'm saying, but kind of. It's obvious that the Gemara has to say that such a thing as a stomach. Otherwise, there's no Gemara. It doesn't exist. So how? I mean, if I had to bake 40 loaves, things might happen. There's always a sound in my head that something might happen.
More to beat them. It's not hard.
I don't know.
Ich weiß nicht. You know what?
I don't know either.
I'm learning a bissel zvachim on the side. So,
I'm actually doing Mishnah's Menachos now also, so that's what I know about.
Well,
yeah,
I'll race you to it, Akiva.
Well, I'm doing Piggle now. We just finished Zvachim, so we started Piggle now. So
let me tell you,
they're almost identical in some ways.
Well, I just want to say, isn't Zvachim the whole first parak or the second parak? First
Menachos also.
Menachos is the same exact thing.
Same thing. Yeah. Same thing. It's mamish like.
I wish I would remember that we're having this conversation whenever it is that I come up with the subject, but I'm not holding out too much hope. I'm really not.
Listen, when we get to Menachos and Yitz Hashem, it's pretty much a chazor of Zvachim.
Okay, I'll
Well,
take
not all
that.
of it. A lot of it is. A lot of it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but Menachos has a lot more stuff negea to other things than Zvachim.
Where's the
Yeah,
napkin?
like Safras, Mezuzah, all of
Yeah.
them. The whole
Where's the
Mezuzah
napkin?
is yeah.
Right.
Anyways,
It's all learned in Zvachim.
Let's
So
see,
what are they going to do? What are the Amiram going to do?
Correct.
it's Yaakov.
Yeah.
So today, the reason why I asked you about ceramic was today we were just like everyone got mugs for Hanukkah presents, and the shiloh was do you have to tovel them?
Right.
And my boss actually he's a shtickle Talmud Chacham. He was like, "It's pasha, you don't."
Yeah, why?
Is there a shiloh? Because I think there are shitas that hold that ceramic nowadays is nothing. It's like there's no tefillah that you need for it, like any mug.
Well, there's two shilas. First of all,
The shiloh, the glazing, no.
The shiloh.
Yeah, but what is it?
First
Real
of all, what is
glazing?
ceramic? That's A. B is the glaze.
Right. So how do you know what glaze is going in there? How do you know what type of glaze they're using?
You don't know. So some people say the cheap ceramics, which I don't know if yours is cheap or not.
It's probably cheap.
Right.
Most of them are.
He knows who he got it from.
They're all made in China. How do you think they made it in China?
Yeah.
So some say that the cheap ones Taka don't need.
So that's where the silicon daya comes from.
Yeah.
So I guess the best way to do it.
Ceramic b'derech klal is sort of like considered like glass.
Right, that's what I was gonna say. But then, so is the best thing to do just to make a bracha on something else and just do it anyways? I guess either way, you could just do it without a bracha.
Right. No, that's what I said to do. Right.
Right.
No,
Just do it anyways.
Didn't I answer you that?
Yeah, you did. You said
right.
You said that when we learned it. Yeah.
Right. So you're saying just do it anyways on the side.
They see that's the problem. It's a cop out. Every time you ask a shaila, anytime there's a thing with a machlokes and tefillas kelim, okay, shines a toivel.
Right. But that's what it comes down to. So basically, we're going to be toiveling everything.
That's exactly right.
Does anyone paskin like the peh mole, the cheap ceramics do not need tefillah, and there's no suffix?
Yes, I've seen it. I've seen people say. Now this is Google, but I've seen people say ceramics that don't have that real glaze does not need any tefillah at all.
Right.
What is with this birthday?
That's why he had a plan him. He's like, "What are you talking about?"
He's supposed to make tickets, but he dropped.
So then he said to text my Rav. That's what he said.
I didn't get the logo. I'll try to go tomorrow. Give me the dates.
Okay. What's with this?
All right, I haven't learned the sugi in a while, so I don't remember exactly what they all say about
When you
ceramics.
going?
Get involved.
All right, I gotta go. Bye. It's been a pleasure.
Chahcahim.
Stay safe.
Good night.
Peretz, enjoy your sleep, Peretz.
Robinson, how are you?
Hello.
How are you, Robinson?
First, I have to see everybody. I see you're inside. You didn't go outside for a smoke yet, huh?
Not yet. I can't even stand up right now.
Wow. I don't know which is worse, not standing up or not going to be able to go out for a smoke.
Not being able to stand up. I'm dying from it.
I hope not. As long as you have life insurance, you're okay.
You got to make yourself like a pipe that goes out a window.
Yeah, it goes all the way out. Yeah.
This is just for you guys?
All right, well, feel good.
Amen. Yashikaya.
Good night.
The